What is up, everyone? Today we have the final day of reveals for leagues. League starts on Wednesday. Now they've released everything. They've given us a lot here. All the relics are revealed, and I am so glad to see what the reveals are. So let's just get right into it. This obviously will be spoilers for the rest of the reveals for leagues, but it's about to come out anyway. You're about to get spoiled on Wednesday if you decide to play it, or whenever you decide to play it. But yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. We have 8 tiers of relics. This is the whole relic reveal that just happened. We got a lot of relics that were revealed just now. We got a total of 5 more, including a whole brand new tier with 3 of them. And let me just say, some of these relics I have been coping for so badly because I just cannot do skilling. It just is not for me. Let's go over all of them, and then let's go through the whole tier section, and I'll go over my picks for it. So we have Equilibrium coming back. Not gonna lie, not many people are not interested in it, but it is a little bit better than before. Instead of a 10% buff to the lowest skill, you will get a 20% buff. Each time you gain XP, you gain additional XP equal to 10% of your total level. So basically, this is like your maxing for the long con. Your overtime, when you're doing combat or whatever, your actual lowest skills are just going to be leveling in the background. This is really good for your passive experience, but if you're more chilled back, just like not just playing leagues casually, I feel like this relic is only really good if you're going to be playing a lot of leagues anyway. So it's kind of counterproductive in that sense, but it is a thing. You'll have to see what else it balances against if you decide whether you want to pick it or not. Personally, I'm not too impressed with it. Oh, there's also a tip here. It says at the bottom, Equilibrium will trigger per instance of individual XP provided, even if that is multiple times in a single tick, like Production Master. Okay, let's just get into Production Master then so we can understand what that means. This could actually pair extremely well with Production Manager. Unironically though, still won't be taking it, but the implications are massive. There is a relic coming back. This used to be a tier 1 relic. This was the first relic I ever went for in leagues ever, because last year was my first time playing leagues. I went for this. When doing the following production activities, all items are processed at once: smelting ores, bars, making cannonballs, fletching logs, stringing bowstrings, arrow shafts, bolt tips, headless arrows, regular arrows, bolts, darts, 10x the amount per action. So instead of doing 10 darts at a time, you're doing 150 each action. Cleaning herbs and making potions which do not have a stackable secondary ingredient. So you're just basically any skilling activity that has an inventory attached to it, you are processing everything all at once every time. Cooking food, making pies or pizzas. Notoriously, there are a few league specific tasks that do require you making an absurd amount of pies, like 100 red berry pies. So that's going to be handled instantaneously as well. Maybe you could even use something like lunar diplomacy, not too sure. Crafting leather, uncut gems, so when you're crafting, glass blowing, jewelry, pottery, battle staves, spinning flax and wool, huge for the early game. I was hoping, when we didn't see for the first few tiers that this thing was going to come back, I was distraught. I'm like, no, I'm going to have to cut every gem manually every time, and it's going to be hell, and it's not going to be pleasant. And that's why I was super bought in to the thieving relic when I'm going for Tyrannwin, because I did not want to cut gems to like 99. So yeah, this is huge for me, but it does compete with other relics, and let's go over the rest of them before we go over the whole chart. So we have Pocket Kingdom, which looks extremely cute, by the way, in game. It's like a little pocket kingdom, literally. Upon choosing this relic, you'll receive the Pocket Kingdom. This item allows full access to managing miscellanea from anywhere. Workers will work for 50% less coins, always have max appeal, produce twice as many resources, accrue resources every hour instead of every day. Sounds good. So it depends on how much you're valuing not having to do certain gathering skills. Things that come to mind are, this kind of takes care of fishing a little bit, but it gives you low HP food. This takes care of things like logs for construction if you're not going for that tier 1 wood cutting relic. This can do a lot of bird nests if you want to get secondaries, and if you're taking the forager relic in addition to this, so you won't have to go out of your way to do birdhouses or get birds nests anymore, that sort of thing. It'll give you a lot of seeds, and it can also give you a lot of herbs, so this can also replace forager straight up if you choose to go in this direction. Maybe you opt for overgrown, and then instead of forager you pick something else like the sage's greaves. Implications: they exist. There's a lot of analysis to go through here. This leagues is extremely flexible for everyone, and that's what I really like about this leagues. They really bypass a lot of the tedious shit, and they made it so that it's super streamlined for everyone to be able to get into PVMing right away, and then later on their decisions are not as impactful in terms of being like a gatekeeper for doing the content they want to do. It's just like a nice little luxury, like frosting on top of the cake type of thing for your overall league's experience, which is quite nice. So that is Pocket Kingdom. Is basically Miscellanea, but so much better. Has a lot of implications with it. You always get 100% favor as well. You get things every hour, and you get 2 times the amount. For the next relic, we have Treasure Arbiter. So last leagues we had a clue relic. This is the equivalent today, except it works a little bit differently. Here's the following benefits. Impling jars and creatures that drop clue scrolls have a 1 in 15 chance of dropping them. Clue geodes, clue nests, clue bottles are found 10 times more often. You're going to be getting a lot of clues. All clue scrolls have the lowest number of steps possible for their tier. Emote, Phalo the Bard, and Charlie clue steps no longer have requirements. The Charlie one is really funny because that only applies to maybe you use it for easy clues, but I'm pretty sure this only applies for beginner clues, and like there's only 10 items on the beginner clue log. Maybe there's just a lot of clues associated with having to do a bunch of beginner clues. But without having item requirements for or emote clues for things like beginner clues or any other tier, you're just using the Clue Compass relic, and you are literally one tap teleporting to every single location you need to go, doing an emote or fighting like a double agent, and you are just completing the clue in like literally 1.5 minutes. It's pretty crazy. Every clue casket will roll the max amount of rewards it can give. It can roll the same item more than once. Beginner caskets roll 3, easy 4, medium 5, hard 6, elite also 6, and masters will roll 7 times. Now you might be thinking like, hey, I don't really necessarily want third age, right? You're not like going to get rich on leagues. There's no like trading system involved. The thing is that leagues has a ton of collection log related tasks, and clues help you get all the collection logs you need. So this is really good for ramping up. However, it does kind of fall off after its use. It's a very niche specific intended use that doesn't really cascade well into other areas like PVM or skilling, in my opinion at least. But you will be getting a lot of clues, so if that's something you like to do, or you just really want to blow past a lot of tasks, or you're going for like a completionist type of thing, this might be the relic for you. And then finally, the last relic that was revealed is Slayer. We had last league something called Bloodthirsty. It gave you like super superiors, which was really cool. This time around, we have the following benefits to Slayer. Always on task for all eligible Slayer monsters. Unlock all Slayer task perks for free. Rune Pouch, Herb Sacks, and Looting Bags in the Slayer Point stores are all free. Skip and block tasks for free. Gain 1,000 to 15,000 bonus Slayer experience for the first time you killed the 100th of each unique Slayer monster, scaled by the monster's Slayer level requirement. Okay, so I think this 1k to 15k is like unbuffed, I'm pretty sure, so it's going to scale with all the multipliers too. Also huge, maybe not though. This basically solves Slayer. You don't have to stack up points. You don't have to be upset if you get a bad task. You could just skip or block him. It really feels like this is almost a must pick, or it's like an extremely difficult choice to pick anything else if you are running Mauritania, because you will have access to the Black Mask, and then you will have the Slayer helmet, which is pretty massive because you can also be on task for all eligible Slayer monsters. So to me, that reads that even if you are not on task for a monster and you go to it wearing a Slayer helm, you will be able to benefit from the bonus damage. That's my interpretation. I don't know if that's true or not, and if I find out before I post this video, I'll just like do an edit here that says otherwise. But yeah, I hope that is the case, because that is huge. But just the ability to get past Slayer, because there's a lot of monsters that are gate kept by Slayer. For example, Cerberus, the Echo variant, as well as Garnia. To be able to get the Echo Orb for that, first you need to get like 91 Slayer. For Thermi, you need 93 Slayer. For Araxor to get the Rancor, you need 92 Slayer. For Hydra, it's 95 Slayer. And then like even the Abyssal Demon's 85 Slayer. So it's not, even though it's leagues, it still will take a minute for you to get Slayer up all the way that high. So this really does solve all that. The thing is, now that we know about this, we have to see what they compete with, because that is going to change exactly the decision making for picking them. And here is the total list of everything. So tier 1, we have all the utility relics. Going to show this to you as best as I can. Okay, so for tier 1 here, we have all the utility relics, and then we have more utility relics here too. We know what happens in tier 3 is teleports. We now know that Equilibrium competes with Golden God. This is another L for Equilibrium, unlucky. But you get Equilibrium relatively early. It's not a late game relic how it was compared to the previous leagues. And now we have a brand new tier. So now this is tier 5. We have the Clue Scroll Relic. We have Production Master and Slayer Master. It's a very difficult decision. For me, at least. I'll go over that in a bit. And then we have over here on tier 6, Total Recall and Banker's Note, which notably are pretty decently late into your progression. They're all the way at tier 6. This will influence your decision making for when you want to do certain grinds, because your ability to have like infinite supplies or your ability to just teleport somewhere is going to be delayed until much later in your league's progression. And then we have the 7th tier, Pocket Kingdom, now competes with Grimoire and Overgrown. Honestly, even though for me this seems like a pretty, I don't know if it's an easy pick. I know that this is a difficult decision, this entire tier, but for me, it's pretty balanced, I'd say, for this tier. Like, yeah, but we'll get over that. And then the last tier are the combat relics, which we went over in a previous video as well. For me, I'm gonna go with, oh, they messed this up. I just noticed. they messed up the icons here. The harpoon thing is actually called Animal Wrangler, and that is the one I'll be going for, is the harpoon thing. I'll not be going for Lumberjack. That is the woodcutting one. I'm going for the harpoon thing. And that is because Varlamore is going to be my first region. Hunter Rumors are cracked for Iron Man. This thing guarantees that you'll catch everything when you hunt. It's going to make everything a lot easier. You get 2 times Chinchompas. Say less. The second relic, I'm going to go for Dodgy Deals, because in Terranwin, I'm going to get 3 skills to 50 mil basically for free. It's going to be a huge boost for me in terms of powering through the next tier for relics. So that's huge. For tier 3, Clue Compass, it's just better. I think objectively, maybe everyone thinks now that Clue Compass is better. I don't really see any arguments for the other two. But yeah, that's a Clue Compass pick for sure. And then going over to tier 4 over here, Golden God is not really relevant to me with Dodgy Deals, personally. Equilibrium, I'm not going to max. I'm just not going to go for max totals. So I'm not picking Equilibrium. And then Reloaded is really good because it competes basically with Golden God in my eyes. And the utility that I'll get is that I can use something like Reloaded and put it back onto Friendly Forager. Reloaded lets you pick any of these 3 tiers again, but not doubling up on the same one, but just choosing one that you haven't picked already. So you can go back here even if you want for a tier 1 utility relic, but I'm going to go for Friendly Forager because this basically serves my Herblore. It solves my Herblore because later on there is a farming relic that I will not be picking. So that's massive for me, and I'll be able to get prayer potions. My only difficult decision with this tier is, do I start with Dodgy Deals or Friendly Forager? Because Friendly Forager will allow me to PVM a lot earlier, do things like a Fight Cave or a Coliseum by having a lot of prayer potions available to me early, that sort of thing. Or do I want to wait until tier 4? And then I'll be able to benefit from both of them and get into PVMing no problem. So that's what I'm still not sure on. I'll probably decide like on Wednesday during a rehearsal stream or something. So yeah, those are my relics so far. It is going to be the Harpoon, and then it's going to be Dodgy Deals and Friendly Forager with an asterisk attached to that. Clue Compass, Reloaded will go back into one of these. And then going on to tier 5. It's so hard. It's so hard because like Slayer for my build is going to be Varlamore, Terranwin, Mauritania. The A Raxor boss is going to be so key because Noxious Halberd is just genuinely a good weapon, but it also gives you the Amulet of Rancor. Specifically because I'm not going for Fremnik, that amulet is going to be huge for me. And getting things like the Blood Fury early from getting a Fury from just crafting is also going to be huge because I'll be able to go really fast with Production Manager. With Production Master. Slayer Master, I do need Slayer though. So I need Slayer and I need crafting. But then thieving actually solves all my crafting for me. So yeah, okay. I'm leaning towards it. Okay, so the clue one, right? It's just like for a purpose. It'll give you more clues. Maybe it will synergize really well with Total Recall when you actually get the step that you want to use to Total Recall, to clue teleport to that step using Clue Compass in conjunction with Total Recall to replenish all your stats. That could be really cool. I just don't think it's worth it. Like, I'd rather get extra clues passively and then find the step, or not find the step at all and just like commute to DKs like every once in a while just cuz, as opposed to taking this relic and then scrapping these other two. These other two, Slayer Master is so appealing because you could just not have any issues ramping up, and I'll have Mauritania. Basically, this will work on the Grotesque Guardians boss because you'll have the Slayer helmet, and it will work on, what else would it work on? Because it doesn't work on Gauntlet, it doesn't work on Soul Herited or anything in the Colosseum or Perilous Moons. Okay, let's see. Fishing, hunter, crafting, thieving. I'm just going over the skills that I know I'll be good for. So my thieving is covered, my crafting is covered, my smithing is covered. Mining, Production Master doesn't help with. Fishing is also covered, which means cooking will probably be covered too. Farming is not covered, but that's like not really important. Farming is also not really important. Rune crafting, Production Master doesn't help with. Planks for construction, I will have Lunar Diplomacy. I'm not really sure that will be that relevant here. And then Herblore. Herblore is just fast though. It's kind of fast. So it's basically only Herblore and Fletching that I'm missing out on by not using Production Manager. And for Fletching, I don't think I have to do anything special because I just won't have access to things. Like if it was the desert, I would probably pick Production Manager, honestly. And I probably will on my range build. But the thing is, right now, the only thing I need Fletching for is level 74 to make Sunlight Hunter Crossbow and darts for the blow. No, I can't even make it because I won't have the tourist traps unlocked. Oh no, never mind. I won't be able to smelt it, but I'll be able to fletch it. You know, I don't actually need the highest tier darts because I will be meleeing for everything, basically. So never mind. I actually won't need the highest darts. I will need the highest arrows though. But I feel like I can get arrows as a drop from somewhere. All right, dragon arrows. Where do you come from? The gauntlet. Oh, it just drops it from the gauntlet. That's okay. Oh, we're good. We're good. I'm just gonna get dragon arrows from the gauntlet. Deranged archaeologist drops them. That's kind of neat. That's basically it. But the fact that it comes from the gauntlet and that I'll only have to kill the gauntlet boss to have a chance at getting these as a 3 in 1 out of 24. So like what, a 1 in 8 to get a bunch of arrows, and we already saved like 95% of our ammunition. I'm actually good for arrows. So then what do I even need? Oh, I just need 74. Yeah, I'll just need 74 for the Sunlight Hunter Crossbow and for Scorching Bows. And how much was Blowpipe? Was it 75? It's 78. So yeah, I'll just need 78 fletching. It's not that bad, really. I might lean towards Slayer. Well, actually, and let me see for Slayer. So what do we got? We got anything noteworthy of interest in my regions. We have jellies. We actually do have jellies in Varlamore. I don't know if we do in Mauritania, but in Varlamore, you can go to the dungeon with the new quest that was released, and you can kill chilled jellies there. That's kind of neat. I'll have access to Kurasks. Oh, true. The Iowarth dungeon could be pretty cool. Gargoyles, Necrials, Sire. So far it's only Sire that's really compelling. Sire, Araxites, and the Grotesque Guardians for the Echo Boss. I'm not gonna lie, I probably won't be killing the Echo Boss for Mauritania, like Grotesque Guardians. I probably won't be killing it more than necessary to get the reward, like the gloves from them. And then at that point, was that like 1-2 Slayer tasks that I'll have to get? Okay, so I have like a bit of a question mark on this. I'm gonna go probably more into detail on Wednesday, but just for the sake of this video, I'm torn between Production Master and Slayer Master. I could go either or. It's only the fact that the Thieving Relic covers so much of the production skills for me, mainly like crafting and smithing, that Production Manager loses a lot of its utility. So it remains to be seen. Maybe I'll even go for the Clue one if I don't get much benefit from these two. So it's really a toss-up for me on this relic. Total Recall and Baker's Note, this is a Total Recall pick. It's just a lot more fun. You just respawn with like all your special, all your health, all your everything. I think people really undervalue the amount of time you spend running in the game for commuting. For example, one of the grinds for Mauritania would be Barrows. If you're farming just one armor set like Darox, half the time you're spending is going from the Barrows teleport to Darox Mound. Actually, I'll just show you. So with Banker's Note, this is assuming you even have a teleport directly to Barrows, right? So if I was using Banker's Note, I would be clicking my teleport, and now the timer starts. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It takes me like 10 seconds to get to Darox to be able to start fighting him. But with Last Recall or Total Recall, you just go to Darox. Like literally with Last Recall, I click Last Recall and I am not here at the ladder. I am just standing here and I am clicking the sarcophagus and attacking Darox, and then using the Clue Compass to go back, because the Clue Compass isn't in the same tier, right? So you'll have a way to get into the Barrows tomb itself. You save 10 seconds every time you're running to Darox, and you're doing this like 100 or 200 times to get the full set if you're just farming one tomb at a time. That's just one use case. I'm pretty confident this comes up in a lot of other grinds as well, where you'll have to be running around a lot or having to run back and forth between places, that sort of thing. People are really sleeping on the utility of Total Recall for quests. For questing in particular, it's really useful for fetch and go. If you have to go like to the desert somewhere and then you have to go back to an NPC in like Alcarid or somewhere like that, you can just Total Recall, or go into Draenor Village, that sort of thing. For me personally, I think Total Recall is a play. Banker's Note still has like a lot of good vibes though attached to it. Like you could do a lot for a little with Banker's Note. You could do content a lot earlier if you're experienced with PVM, or you could do all the later game content without having much experience in PVM. Going over to tier 7, Pocket Kingdom, Grimoire, and Overgrown. For me, Forager is going to solve my supply needs. I'm not going to get farming XP, sure, but I'm going to be able to solve all of the potions that I'll need, especially for the mixology minigame with Varlamore. So those potions as well will be solved with Friendly Forager. That's really good. So Overgrown is like a bit of an X for me. And then the other ones available are Pocket Kingdom and Grimoire. So let's just pull up the actual rewards and see if it's worth it. Okay, you get herbs, which for me is solved with Forager. If I wasn't taking Forager, I would strongly consider Pocket Kingdom just for the ability to even have these herbs available to me, because then you don't need Overgrown or Forager. You could just get other things. You can also get your construction done really nicely if you don't have the woodcutting relic, and I don't. I just feel like there will be other ways to get construction up, in particular with GP from thieving. Now on Wednesday, I do plan on really sussing out if that claim is total BS or not. So that's on Wednesday. I'll be streaming like my thought process as well, and we could do like a bit of Coliseum too. I'm going to try to calculate if it's a reasonable thing to rely on GP for all my construction needs instead of needing something like Pocket Kingdom for miscellanea. Fishing, it doesn't really give you good food. Mining is not really relevant because you could just get supply drops from bosses in the game anyway, and that's pretty much it. Maybe this goes hard with Production Manager if you're getting like a bunch of maple logs, but it's not that impactful for me. That being said, Pocket Kingdom isn't looking too hot for me because I'm going for Friendly Forager mainly, and I'm not going for Overgrown. It's a choice between Pocket Kingdom and Grimoire. For me, this is going to be a Grimoire pick because I'll just get all the prayers and the spells, so I'll have Thralls as well, and I'll have Ancients. Versatility is massive. Mainly the prayers is what I'm concerned about. Yeah, it's not like you're going to become a complete god from having like piety or rigor or something like that. They are significant increases in DPS, but you'll still be doing a ton of damage, so it's not like you have to choose Grimoire. It's just I'm personally never gonna go for Karen, so for me this is just how I'll get the prayers, and I don't mind using it over the other two, especially since the utility from the other two for me rests in Herblore, and I'm getting that from Friendly Forager anyway. Then for the final relic tier, this is the combat relics. I know Guardian is the right pick for someone who's decent at PVM. However, I'm going to go for Last Stand just because of that burst damage from getting your stats up to 255 and just going full stasis. I think that's really neat. It's going to be a lot of fun, even though I know Guardian will probably be just better overall. Like, it'll probably save me more time in leagues, but for a fun aspect, I'm going to go for Last Stand. And Specialist is not relevant to me because I literally don't have any special attack items. I have Varlamore, Mauritania, and Tyranwin. The only special attack item I can think of is the Noxious Halberd, which is like a meme special attack, and the Toxic Blowpipe, which can heal you. But we have healing from passives anyway. If I'm really that down bad for healing, I'll just go thieve some blood shards, really. I don't even think I'll need blood shard though, because the DPS from melee is just going to be that massive that you're going to have a lot of passive healing, which means that Toxic Blowpipe is not considered. Noxious Halberd is not considered. I am struggling to think of any other special attack items. The Soul Staff from the Colosseum Echo Boss is a stack based special attack. It's not a regular special attack, so you won't be using special attack for that. I'll literally just have like a DDS. That's about it. Maybe a Dragon Longsword or something like that. I don't know. We'll find something funny to use for a special attack, but it's not going to be that impactful that it warrants an entire relic for me. So yeah, it's going to be Last Stand for me. So just to go over, it's going to be the Harpoon, which is not called Lumberjack. I'm going to get the Harpoon. I'm going to get these two bottom ones, the Friendly Forager and Dodgy Deals. Then I'm going to go for Clue Compass, and then I'm going to go for Reloaded to get one of the other two. And then we're going to talk more about this on Wednesday because it's a total toss-up for me. Actually, I'm curious what you guys are going to go for all of these, but mainly for this relic tier. Which one do you prefer, the Clue one, the Production Master one, or the Slayer one? Then for the next tier, I'm going to go for Total Recall. Then I'm going to go for Grimoire, and then Last Stand, and that's going to be my first account build. And then for the second account build, we'll have to see. I'm not going to say exactly what I'll do for range because I'm sure my opinions will change as I actually use the relics and see other people use the relics. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. All these new relics were released. Very cool stuff. That's all the reveals. League starts on Wednesday, so enjoy. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna be streaming it Wednesday. Sorry, not Wednesday. Whoa, that's crazy. Because Leagues comes out on Wednesday. So anytime I said Wednesday in this video, just like completely write that off. Tomorrow we'll be doing a rehearsal stream to go over everything and maybe do some Colosseum with like all the Perilous Moons gear just to get a vibe of what things will be like in the actual League's game mode. However, I'm sure everything will be different because of the combat tier masteries. It'll be just fun to do a Colosseum with like the budget gear, I guess. So we'll be doing that, going over the relics, seeing what's important. That's for tomorrow. And then League starts on Wednesday, so that's going to be the big day. Everyone's going to be online. Servers are going to crash for an hour, no doubt about that in my mind. So maybe you want to delay for an hour or just watch the madness unfold on Twitch or on YouTube or something. I'm going to try to get in as early as I can, but I can't imagine that I'll be starting the stream earlier than 7 or 8 a.m. Eastern. But I'll be aiming for somewhere around then. We'll be able to start that first day. This has been really cool stuff. I also recently made a video where I ranged the Awakened Duke, so you can go check that out if you want. It's basically to simulate what your League's experience will look like if you take range and you're ranging a monster that isn't traditionally weak to range. The Duke is one of those monsters. You could just face tank him, but I did make that video in the main game. It was pretty difficult. If you want to check that out, I'll put that at the end of this video. But yeah, that's it for me. Hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you later.